When you're going up against a guy like DK Metcalf, who is a sizable dude, how do you psych yourself up? How do you approach that type of receiver?
You just got to play big. He's a big physical guy. Having a hell of a season so far. Um, it's going to be an exciting matchup for us, him and Tyler Lockett.
I think he goes something like 230 pounds. I mean, have you dealt with a guy with that type of power in the past? And how do you kind of go about that? How do you go about attacking a guy who's got that size advantage?
Yeah, I definitely played several big guys over the course of my career. Um, Obviously, he's a different stature with as far as with the explosion and his speed. You just got to play physical. He's probably going to try to, bully guys, and he's seen that he's shown that on film. But yeah, he's just going to be one of those matchups where the big boy pads got to come on.
Jason, this defense has lost so many of the guys who were starters the first week of the season, and yet in the last two games has been pretty dominant and is now a top 5 defense. Can you just talk a little bit or explain the mentality of how a unit that can lose so many key players can step up and what's going on the defensive side?
Yeah, no, that's just the mentality that we have as a whole, from the front to linebackers to the back end. Is that next man up mentality, not skipping a beat. And, you never know when your number's called, so you always got to be prepared. I think the coaches do a hell of a job at that, of making sure everybody's ready. And for the guys that's, behind the starters, they just watch how the starters practice. And, when your number is called, you just match that intensity.
Jason, I have 2 questions for you. One is I want to know what you remember from going up against Lockett back in your college days, which is about 6-7 years ago. And then what's the defense's mindset every time you guys get the interception? You all have to rush to the end zone to get posed for the picture.
Yeah, Lockett, man, we had great matchups in college. I got tremendous respect for him. Definitely a good receiver, shifty. Yeah, we had some real good battles in college. But yeah, as far as just turnovers, it's just part of what we celebrate at the back end, man. You always want to turn over the ball and get a chance to go in the end zone and flash and get a picture, man. It's just part of the game.
Jason, they're letting Russell kind of do whatever he wants to do this year instead of holding him out until the fourth quarter. Have you seen a big change in what you've watched from film so far?
Yeah, I mean, Russ is definitely a special quarterback. I feel in this game it's going to probably come down to the last drive. As we've seen on film, and all the games have all came down to the last drive, and Russell's been able to make things happen. I just think defensively we got to limit the explosive plays, try to just keep everything in front of us.
Hey, Jason, not that Russell Wilson is the only mobile or elusive guy you face. What do you do as a cornerback when a guy can, run around back there and keep his eyes downfield? Maybe I'm trying to impress you. I think the term is plastering. I mean, is that the key, to plaster the receiver? Or, how do you hold up and defend, for 8-9 seconds, whatever it takes?
I mean, it's tough, but I feel if the defensive line can do what they've been doing all year long and what we've been doing in the back end of trying to keep them in the pocket, I think that'll definitely be a good point for us. But yeah, I mean, obviously Russell is good at being able to scramble and keeping plays alive, and you definitely just got to plaster and just stick with your man.
Jason, every time we talk to you, your injury history comes up and all that you've overcome. Do you loathe part of that process, like talking to us about all of that stuff, and just kind of want to move on at some point?
I just know what comes with it. I'm just embracing it, man. Obviously, it's something that's been, I guess, people used against me as far as all the injuries that I've been through, and just being able to overcome it and dealing with questions, dealing with all that. I'm just embracing it.
Jason, the theme of the week seems to be to compare your height just to DK Metcalf. But way back when you had an interception against the Raiders, against a 6'4" receiver where you high pointed the pass. And Last season, Mosley played about as well as any cornerback has against Metcalf. I want you, if you could explain, how would you explain to somebody that height isn't a skill? And my second question to you is, what's your favorite track from Nip?
Well, I just got with, like I said, with DK Metcalf and guys of those statures, you got to play big. I think myself and Mosley, the advantage that we have is our foot quickness. I think being able to get closer to the hip, reading hips and hands when you're dealing with a higher stature receiver, I think that's probably the best way you can probably position yourself and being able to make plays is being able to play, the hands and his hands and eyes. As far as Net, man, I got a lot of favorite tracks. Hustle and Motivate, Dedication, Down is a Great. Those are probably my top 3 that I listen to on a daily.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Hey Faithful, don't forget to click here to subscribe to our YouTube.